Hi everyone. There is a huge difference between the personal data science project versus the industry data science projects. When you're learning data science on your own, you might have gone through several YouTube videos, you would have gotten a lot of certifications, and you must have done a lot of projects on your own. But what if I say, even though if you have done all these things, you're gonna be surprised when you get your first data science job that you have to learn even a lot more things to be adaptable to the industry. If you're looking for your first data science job or internship, or if you have just started your first data science job, this video is for you. In this video, we are going to cover 6 crucial things I wish someone has told me before I've started my first data science job. Without any delay, let's get started. First up, like many of you, whenever I want to do a data science project, I open my laptop and I'll go to either Google Colab or I'll open Jupyter Notebook. So when I joined my first data science internship, so that's what I expected. When they said there's going to be a new project for me, I thought I'm going to work on a Google Colab or Jupyter Notebook. But instead, they gave me a project code base which is in VS Code. If you have never opened VS Code in your life, it will be so intimidating to see it for the first time. Because if you are transitioning from Google Colab or Jupyter Notebooks, which are very simple, the UI looks very simple, but that wasn't the case for VS Code when I opened it for the first time. There are a lot of menus, there are a lot of tabs which are on the side. We can do a lot more things which we couldn't do on Google Colab. For example, there is split screen editing in VS Code, which will be super helpful if you're working on any complex projects. And then it has GitHub integration. And how can I forget about the extensions? They are the lifesavers. So I've always thought why I've never used this for my personal projects. That's why I suggest you to, before doing your next data science project, whether it be a personal project or a project that you're going to do for an industry, just download VS Code or any other text editor which is equivalent to VS Code. Start creating projects on it and create folders and use all these functionalities that are offered by VS Code. Here comes number 2. In personal projects, it's just you writing the code, creating the project, forming your analysis and completing the project. But that's not the case when you're working in a company. Collaboration is the key when you're working with your teammates. GitHub's pull request, issue tracking, commenting on someone else's code makes the collaboration way more easier. Though GitHub is primarily for you to work with your teammates, you can still use GitHub in your personal projects to keep track of your own work so that in future, you can look back at your own work and your progress. Even if you make any mistake, you can just revert back so easily. Sometimes learning Git commands might be overwhelming. So if you feel that you can't learn Git commands, I would suggest you to download GitHub Desktop. It provides no-code UI to do almost every Git action, and eventually you'll learn the Git commands automatically. The third thing that I want to talk about is we are very much familiar with notebooks. Whether it can be reading the CSV from the start, performing our analysis, building our machine learning pipeline, and sometimes even communicating our results. We do all these steps using notebooks when we are doing our personal projects. But what if I say you use notebooks only 20% of your time when you code, and 80% of the time you just have to write Python scripts directly? Notebooks are great for exploration, to perform your analysis, to do your POC, to understand the project. But Python scripts are the backbone of production. If you want to move your project into production, you have to convert your notebook into a Python script. So next time when you do your personal project, make sure to convert your notebooks into a Python script so that you won't be surprised when you do the same in your first job. The point 4 that we're going to talk about is the reusable code. This might be a subtle thing that you might be doing in your project, but it has a huge impact if you have to view a project and make any changes to the project. Duplicating code in a notebook is very easy. But let's say if you want to change a part of the code, if you have duplicated, if you have to go through all the codes that you have duplicated and edit those code, and maybe you might miss a part of it. So avoiding the duplicate code is the smartest thing that you can do. But how to do that? Make a habit of creating Python functions. Let's say you're going to perform same set of actions again and again. Instead of just writing code in your notebook and rethinking that whether I have written this code before, start writing Python scripts with Python functions in it. So that, let's say if it's a common activity that you're doing with your data, you can anytime call the functions that you have already written. It not just saves your time, it also helps you to keep the project more cleaner. Point number 5. Never underestimate the power of documentation. I know you have worked on your project for days or even weeks, and you might have gone through a lot of errors, Googled it, asked ChatGPT to solve the error, and finally you're done with the project. It's so tempting for you to not document the project, just close the notebook or close the project and move on to the next one. But trust me, in a professional setting, even if you want to skip this part, you don't have an option to skip it. Here's a side-by-side comparison of documented code versus undocumented code. Trust me, your future self and also your teammates will appreciate you for documenting your code properly. The last but the most critical thing is start using the debugger. When we are working on personal projects, we used to use notebooks, and let's say there is an error and we can't find where the error is. We'll just create more cells, try to print all the variables that we have and try to figure out what's going wrong. Yeah, it is very simple if the structure looks very simple as if it is a notebook. But as we discussed in the first point, it's not always going to be just a notebook. If you are working in an industry project and if you are running a data pipeline, there is a high chance that you have multiple Python scripts running behind. And if you encounter an error, trust me, it is so much better to leave the error as it is instead of writing print statements after every line, trying to find where it went wrong. That's why mastering the debugger tool in VS Code is going to help you so much and make your life way more easier. Like this simpler debugging tools in notebooks, professional data pipeline needs more robust tools like debugger in VS Code. I always wish that I've started using the debugger in VS Code sooner. And there you have it. These are the 6 key insights that would have made my first data science job a lot more easier. I hope these tips help you as much as it has helped me. If you are just starting out in data science and if you're struggling a lot to get your first job, check out this video where I've explained the 2 things that I've done to get my first data science job. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one.